Calgary police officer charged with murder.
This news today does not change the fact that we are committed to providing equitable and culturally respectful policing services.
2 years after a shooting. It's been a vacant lot for a few years now. And people nearby say environmental concerns should put an end to a housing proposal. And a cancer patient seeks care overseas.
I don't want to die. I'm not ready to die.
The costly treatment she's raising money for.
CTV Calgary, local breaking news with Ian White.
Good afternoon. A Calgary police officer is charged with 2 counts of second-degree murder following a shooting 2 years ago. Tyson Fedor is along Memorial Drive where the shooting happened. And Tyson, this comes after an Alberta police watchdog investigation.
Ian, Constable Craig Stothard, a 15-year member with Calgary Police, was charged yesterday for his alleged role in the death of 2 men during a slow-speed pursuit along Memorial Drive here behind me 2 years ago. Now, cell phone video did catch the truck driving erratically at the time, but quite slowly along Memorial near Reconciliation Bridge in May of 2023. Police tried to stop it from entering the downtown and nearby residential areas. Alberta's Serious Incident Response Team says evidence it gathered provided reasonable grounds that murder was committed by Constable Stothard. Now, the victims were not named by ACERT. However, they have been publicly identified as Levon Fox and Wesley Davidson. A third man was taken into custody. Calgary Police did not speak to media today, but in a social media video, the chief says that she recognizes the profound impact, referring to Fox's Indigenous heritage and all involved.
We are committed to listening, learning, and taking every possible step to understand what can be learned from what happened. This news today does not change the fact that we are committed to providing equitable and culturally respectful policing services and embracing Indigenous worldviews.
Now, the 51-year-old Stothard appeared in the Court of King's bench today. He is currently not in custody. At 6 o'clock, we'll hear from one criminologist who says it is very rare to see murder charges against a police officer here in Canada. Ian?
Thank you, Tyson. Police are trying to figure out what led to a wild crash with serious injuries at one of Calgary's busiest interchanges. 3 people were injured when a van hit a raised curb on Memorial Drive, careened across a green space, and launched into Deerfoot Trail. The van collided with a northbound car, and the van ended up on its side in the median, right in the middle of a construction zone, with heavy equipment sitting just meters away. Debris was scattered across the road, and the crash led to closures on northbound Deerfoot and westbound Memorial for hours. Police are trying to determine how and why the van left Memorial Drive.
We're looking at speed, we're looking at maybe driver inattention, maybe he was weaving in and out of the traffic itself. We just don't know. So anybody who's got any dash cam footage or anybody who may have witnessed the movements of this vehicle prior to the collision, we'd really appreciate them coming forward and helping us with this investigation.
The driver of the van is in serious but stable condition. The driver and passenger of the other vehicle have non-life-threatening injuries. There were major traffic backups while investigators did their work. A man died after he was hit by a C train early this morning. It happened at the Canyon Meadows LRT station. Emergency crews were called to the scene just after 2 a.m. C train service was disrupted for about 5 hours. Shuttle buses were used to transport passengers between the Fish Creek and Anderson stations. Police believe the death is not criminal. Investigators are trying to figure out the cause of a fire at a Southeast industrial packaging company. Smoke was coming out of the building when firefighters responded at 9:40 last night. They brought the fire under control by 10:15. No one was hurt. Today, fire crews were back at the building, continuing their investigation. The fire department says the inside of the facility was or has heavy smoke damage. One man was shot in what Airdrie RCMP believe is a targeted shooting. Multiple shots were fired around 6 last night in the newer southeastern neighborhood of Lanark. The residential street was taped off by police, and at the center of the investigation was a black Ford Bronco with bullet holes in it. RCMP say a man was shot while sitting in the Bronco, but injuries are not life-threatening. A passenger was not hurt. The suspects fled the scene in a vehicle that was later found, but no arrests have been made. The Mounties say there is no risk to the public. RCMP in High River need help finding a man who stole a pride flag. The incident was caught on security video. On Sunday night, a man walked up to a home in the southeast part of town, made a Nazi salute, and ripped a flag off the front porch. He then made a rude gesture toward the camera. Call RCMP or Crime Stoppers if you recognize the man who wore a light-colored hoodie and dark pants. Disturbing actions from a next-door neighbor have a Calgary family calling for action from police and policymakers. When Joffrey DeVilla's truck was vandalized outside his home, he installed security cameras. It took video of their neighbor holding hatchets and shouting racial slurs before chopping into their planters. DeVilla called 911, but says the responding officer called it a mental health incident and never followed up. Last week, he called 911 again when the neighbor came 2 more times, yelling and wielding hatchets. DeVilla thinks more should have been done after the first incident.
Because maybe it's not big of a value, but to me, that's an indication that he's trying to like destroy or damage a property, or worse, can hurt someone one day.
DeVilla thinks governments need better policy for mental health matters. He gave an officer his videos and days later got a text saying they are still investigating after CTV called police. CPS say they received 4 reports about disturbances, property damage, and uttering threats in this case. City councillors are set to consider a contentious development proposal in Hillhurst. Their concerns construction could disturb contaminated soil at the site. Jordan Canigan is at City Hall with more. And Jordan, more than a dozen people are expected to speak in council chambers.
Ian, there are quite a few people here waiting to have their voice heard. That public hearing and debate hasn't quite started. It is still a couple of items away, but we can tell you that from what has been submitted to the city beforehand, nearly all of it has been in opposition of the land redesignation change. The lot is along Westbound Boulevard. It's the former site of the CBC building. What's proposed is a 269-unit apartment complex. Concerns include increased traffic in the area, parking, building height, and more. But by far, the biggest issue is worry the creosote-contaminated soil will be disturbed during construction, and it could be harmful to those who live nearby. Decades ago, a wood treatment plant operated across the Bow River, leaving behind creosote, which seeped over to the other side of the river. A provincial report from a few years ago found contamination at the site is mostly confined to the south portion of the lot and does not pose a risk through inhalation, but those living in the community say that doesn't make them feel any better.
We don't think the risk management accounts for the risks associated with venting creosote-related components into the atmosphere around the building that's being proposed. We think that may impact the residents who are already in the area.
Also today, during a busy meeting, a contentious proposal to put up towers in Martin Loop has gone ahead. It could see 2 high-rise and 2 mid-rise towers built, making up 441 units. The city received 136 letters in opposition of the land redesignation and 3 in favor. Still, though, City Council voted 13-1 in moving ahead with that land redesignation. Ian?
Okay, thanks, Jordan. Gina is with us now, and the sun finally came out today.
Took a long time, though. Yeah, a lot of the models, I think, were predicting we'd get that clear sky a little bit earlier in the day, but we're just starting to see more of that sunshine peek through the clouds right now as those clouds push more down to the south there, stateside. So we're seeing that on the horizon here. 16 degrees, so have just bumped down a degree from that 17 high that we hit a little earlier this hour. Winds out of the southeast right now, but likely return turning to a northeasterly direction later this evening. And you can see in this shot here a little bit some gray. That is an air quality advisory that's right on our doorsteps. Taking a look at your 24-hour forecast, brought to you by 5th Avenue Volkswagen, where you can win your ride. See dealer for details or visit 5thavenuevolkswagen.com. I'll have more on what we're expecting as we get into the midweek here coming up, Ian.
Thank you, Gina. As the climate changes, we're seeing more extreme weather events in Canada, and that is taxing our power grid. Still ahead, a call to upgrade our sources of electricity. Also, a woman with an aggressive form of breast cancer hopes treatment in Germany can extend her life. Between extreme heat in the summer and extreme cold in the winter, Canada could be facing a power crisis. Experts say the power grid we have today is not equipped to accommodate weather extremes. Between 2013 and 2023, Canada's 10 most significant extreme weather events caused nearly 20 million hours of electricity interruptions. Of those 10 events, 8 occurred in the second half of the decade. And with more people using electric vehicles and heat pumps, Canada needs more electricity.
We're going to need more wind, more solar, more hydro, more nuclear to be able to meet the challenges of the future.
Artificial intelligence will also put more pressure on the power grid, with data centers drawing massive amounts of electricity. The path of the severe thunderstorm that swept through Calgary on Sunday has been mapped out. It shows the hail started in northwest Calgary near Royal Oak and continued as the storm spread eastward, ending around Forest Heights in the southeast. Scientists from Western University's Canadian Severe Storms Lab say compared to last year's catastrophic storm, this one was shorter with lower wind speeds, resulting in much less damage. Today, they visited the hardest hit areas, measuring hail damage to siding and cars and interviewing homeowners. They hope their research can help prevent multi-billion-dollar losses from severe storms.
We look at what breaks, what doesn't, what materials are really good at standing up to hail and tornadoes, what materials are not, and then we can recommend what materials people use in their houses, what goes into building code reviews, and how to improve resilience to these disasters into the future.
The Northern Hail Project has a team stationed in Alberta in the summer. All the data it collects is publicly available, and we have some links on our website. Okay, moving on from one weather event to another. There's a lot of smoke, wildfire smoke in other parts of Canada, and we might get some here too.
I actually smelled a little bit of it last night as well, because we have these northerly winds because of that rain that moved in, and then it picked and scooped up some of that smoke from those wildfires burning across the prairies as well yesterday. So looking outside right now, we're getting that clearing finally after a pretty cloudy day for the most part. And when we take a look at your temperatures, they're starting to rally and improve from yesterday as well. We hit a high of 17 degrees today. We're seeing 16 at the airport right now, still holding on to that 17 degrees downtown and over in Windsport. Get your daily dose of greens at Serenity Golf Club, just 20 minutes east of Calgary. Let's jump back a little bit to the past here, talk about that rain from yesterday. We're finally seeing some of those totals. So for the Calgary area at the airport, just shy of 50 millimeters between Sunday and Monday from those two rain systems that moved through. Highest amounts were just west of Pincher Creek at about 71 millimeters. So it was a good dose of rain, but this forecast is being consistently inconsistent. There's our system now, just tracking stateside there and to the east of us. And now we're contending with the possibility of smoke. We have air quality advisories that keep updating pretty frequently here and are getting closer and closer to Calgary's doorstep. The newest advisory was close to the BC border there, impacting areas in the extreme southwest. So I've taken a couple of models into consideration here. This is a very overgeneralized view of the wildfires burning in Saskatchewan, but it's makes the most sense of where we're expecting our smoke to drift into the province tonight and into tomorrow. We have that northeasterly flow for the most part right now, and then tomorrow those winds are going to transition from the southeast. So there is the likelihood Calgary could see a lot of that smoke from those prairie burning wildfires funnel in from the south into Calgary Wednesday afternoon. And then we got another system moving through here, so pretty clear setup for tonight. A little bit of cloud cloud throughout the afternoon tomorrow, and then it's round 3, I guess, at this point of the wet weather. So late Wednesday, we see some showers move in over Calgary, and then watch the counterclockwise cyclonic rotation that develops into Thursday morning there. So a lot of rain possible in the morning hours for Calgary and the surrounding area before that mid-latitude cyclone starts to dissolve and track to the east of us. So a lot of instability on tap for Thursday. Friday could carry into there as well, though it should be another buffer day like Wednesday will be. And then as we get into Saturday, we could see even more instability, but temperatures closer to seasonal, which is typically 23 degrees.
Family and friends of a Calgary woman diagnosed with the rare and aggressive breast cancer are raising money to send her to a treatment center in Germany. In 2016, Donna Willett was diagnosed with triple-negative breast cancer. Her cancer is insensitive to hormones and lacks a specific growth protein, making it harder to treat. Her diagnosis worsened in 2019 when the cancer spread to her liver, lungs, and lymph nodes. This spring, she stopped chemotherapy after 8 years. Now, she says her only hope is an immunotherapy treatment in Germany. A doctor there says it could extend her life. Willett isn't giving up hope.
I don't want to die. I'm not ready to die. I have too much work to do in this world, and I am going to be the biggest advocate for triple-negative breast cancer.
The GoFundMe for Willett can be found on our website. It has a goal of $200,000. Last year, hundreds of local families suddenly lost their daycare providers. Still to come, why 2 of the daycare centers are allowed to reopen despite safety issues raised last year. Inflation in Canada is on the rise. Joining me is Leanna Wachniak, investment advisor with the Popwich Carmeli Advisory Group. And Leanna, Canada's inflation rate went up last month.
That's right. We got the numbers in for June, and it looks like the Canadian headline inflation rate rose to about 1.9%. Now, that's versus a 1.7% reading that we saw in May. So up slightly and roughly in line with economist expectations. Now, there were a couple of caveats to that number, which was largely driven, of course, by durable goods. Things like vehicles are costing us more these days, and that's not surprising given the tariff situation. But the interesting part about this is actually the core inflationary number, which was reading around that 3% mark. So it looks like some of that inflation really is sticky and baked in to the overall number, and it's not budging much. So what this did was basically give a reason for the Bank of Canada to likely not necessarily move the rates at all when they meet next on July 30th. In fact, the market pricing in about a 6% chance of a rate cut, so very low.
Meantime, inflation in the U.S. is seeing the impact of tariffs.
Right, and it's a similar story on the U.S. side of the border, and again, we got their CPI number today. That's not their official gauge of inflation that the U.S. Fed looks at, but it did still tick up slightly. Now, economists have been waiting to see that number move upward because of tariffs for the last few months, and it hasn't moved much as companies have kind of worked through the inventory they purchased before the tariffs went into effect. We're starting to see that come out of the market now, and we did see their inflation number, their CPI number, go up when they announced that today. So again, also some reason for the U.S. Fed to necessarily move their interest rates when their decision comes down later this month.
Leanna, thank you for the update.
Thank you.
2 of 3 Calgary daycare programs shut down last summer due to safety concerns are planning to reopen after a successful appeal. The licenses of 3 Little Scholar daycare programs in the Northeast and Northwest were revoked last August. The province cited an imminent danger to children, including restraining of children and lack of supervision. 70 staff were out of work and hundreds of families scrambled for childcare. A citizen appeal panel has now rescinded the province's decision on 2 programs, allowing them to reopen in the coming months. Many parents remain frustrated with the company.
We would be really happy to support them again, provided that when this all started last year, that they had given us our refunds like we had been promised. They had given us updates as to what was going on, but essentially they just left 300 families on the lurch. We never got a refund. We never got answers from them, and we were left in the dark.
Little Scholars lawyers say they'll ask the province to compensate families. Alberta Education and Childcare did not respond to our question about compensation, but told us it's working to reinstate the licenses, which will not have any special conditions. A Calgary police officer is charged with 2 counts of murder. Here's Tara Nelson with a look ahead to CTV News at 6.
Hi, Ian. 2 men were shot and killed during a slow-speed pursuit 2 years ago. Legal experts say it is very rare for an officer to be charged with murder while in the line of duty. Also ahead, a new story for 6. Efforts are underway to recover a painting sold in error from the gift shop at the Bayou Ranch National Historic Site. We'll see how that could have happened. Ian.
Thank you, Tara. We have an interesting mix of weather conditions for the next few days for the rest of the work week. Gina has details just ahead. Gina, you want the pickleball courts to be dry enough this week, right?
I think Wednesday should be good for all my fellow pickleballers out there, but Thursday, if you have a court booked outside, it's not looking too good out there. But right now, we're at 16 degrees, a little off from that 17-degree high that we hit right around 4 o'clock. So it was a late day high, that's for sure. But a quick look at that 3-day forecast for you. Chance of smoke tomorrow, evening rain, but a mix of sun and cloud throughout the afternoon. And then, like I said, Thursday is shaping up to be a wet one, especially in the morning, and that'll drive down our temperatures to just a high of 15.
Thank you, Gina. A Calgary military veteran is about to ride his bike across the state of Iowa to raise money for fellow veterans. Jeff Lowe is a bombardier in the Canadian Armed Forces. He struggles with PTSD and depression. He and his wife, Roseanne, have been training for an annual bike event across Iowa. They'll ride more than 100 kilometers a day for a week. The funds he'll raise will support the Veterans Association in Calgary.
Like, they would take a veteran that's going to be homeless and put them in a place at midnight. Like, they're there 24/7 for veterans and young families. And the goal for me is to, I'm not going to put a limited fund on it. I'm just going to say, across Canada, across Alberta, whatever you can afford.
The ride begins Saturday, July 19th, and wraps up in Gutenberg, Iowa on July 26th. So best of luck to Jeff and Roseanne. Thank you for joining us. Now here's the early edition of the CTV National News.